been quite a struggle for me since day one.
It's just been so culturally segregated.
We are not seeing diversity in magazines and films.
First, to just touch a little bit more deeply on this idea of everybody has a different starting point. To what extent do you think the background for each person, sitting here, made it different for each of you guys starting out and finding the mountains?
It's been quite a struggle for me since day one. And historically, this country has not been one of those places where you see people of color at the top that are the best skiers or the best snowboarders. As a young black kid, you tend to start having these thoughts of like, oh, well, I like doing those things, but I'm not supposed to do that because black people don't do that.
Well, yeah, I would have never even thought of oh, I'm gonna snowboard. I didn't even know that was a thing till my mom's like, hey, I'm just snowboarding. Do you want to come up? And so if it wasn't for her being there, I would have never snowboarded.
Yeah, the outdoors are passed down. I mean, I didn't find the mountains. My grandfather found the mountains, and my parents fell in love with the mountains. And at 4 years old, I was plopped on a pair of skis. As we try to bring diversity into the outdoor community, we're really trying to build that first generation that will hopefully, like my grandfather did, they fall in love with the mountains, they introduce it to the kids, and the chain starts. And unfortunately, we're kind of largely at the start of that chain.
Yeah. No, it's important. I think that context of generational hand down, and those starting blocks shift. Every generation that goes to the mountains then introduces a new generation, and it starts a little bit sooner. That's something that I've taken away from this for sure.
Chile is a skinny country, all coast, all mountain. Either way you look, you see the peaks or the ocean, and 95% of the country hasn't been to either, which is insane. And it all comes down to how things develop over generations. So, Chileans have been priced out from going to enjoy their own mountains. But I've seen the same thing in the States throughout resorts. And I'm sure Ryan and Jeremy have a better perspective of that here.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is throughout history, this is very generational in terms of what we were talking about is you need your parents or your grandparents to pass that down on to you. You need to feel welcome that people like you can go out and do that. And historically, people of color are poor and second thought. Thus, you have less influence for you to do things that you see are predominantly white people activities. I think we can do better as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, be welcoming. When you see people struggling, or just make them feel warm, throw some stoke. We're lucky to be out there in the outdoors and just, let people know they're welcome.